Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Hello, Miss Marie. The tried and true. Can always count on you to be here. Sorry, we're a little late today. I had some errands today and appointments, and that will be the case again Thursday. Hi, Diana. How are you? Nice to see you as well. Nice to see you as well. Where are you guys coming in from? Remind me, please. And to whoever's in the bushes, we're going to go through Dylan Ethler. I always put a T in there by mistake. And compare that to Jack and Lily tonight and see if there's any similarities. Where's everybody coming in from? To those in the bushes, say hi. We're friendly over here. Marie, where are you from again, honey? Everybody's being shy. Everybody's being shy. So let's get into a video on Dylan. Yours truly. Has, sorry for my bark, has a little bit of a cold starting. Diana says you're from Halifax. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. Hello, my dear Liane. Oh, well, here, happy is December, ready for Christmas. I'm in Northeast Florida. Oh, lucky lady. We're in the warm weather. Halifax, not far, Diana, from where these kids went missing. Welcome in, Helen. Nice to see you, sweetie. Nice to see you. Southwest Nova Scotia. Nice to see you. Carl, nice to see you. We got some newbies in the chat tonight. We got some newbies in the chat. So let's watch. If you're not familiar with Dylan Ethler, I'm not super familiar with his case. So let's get familiar with it first. And see if we can figure out what the similarities are and the differences are. I know, Diana. I know. It's very, very sad. It's very, very sad. You know. Hey, welcome, Bernice, in from Cape Breton. Welcome in. Welcome in. Nice to see you. Yeah, so usually we have welcome in, Seawood. Welcome in from Nova Scotia. Nice to see everybody. I don't normally go this time in the day. Hi, Dion. Hi, Dion. Welcome in all the way from the UK. Wow, you're up early or late. I guess it's late. Anyways, usually we have some mods here and our regular crew because I normally go typically 11 or 2. Used to be 4, and then I stopped going at 4. But I'm glad to see all you newbies. So if you're interested in this channel, we are following Jack and Lily and Dylan Ethler because there's not a lot going on with Jack and Lily lately. And I'd been asked before to cover poor Dylan. And probably some of you there will know more about it than I will at this point, but let's learn together.
A somber anniversary today, May 6th, marks 5 years since a Truro child went missing. Dylan Ethler was 3 years old when he disappeared from his grandmother's house in May of 2020. Investigators believe Dylan fell into a stream and was swept away. The only thing searchers found were his boots. Truro police say the missing persons case is still open. Meantime, a search in Truro will be held by volunteers at the end of the month.
So 5 years since he went missing. Very sad. I'm going to just read this article, see if we get a little bit more here. 5 years after the Nova Scotia boy Dylan Ethler went missing, searchers take another look. First of all, let me ask you all this in the chat. Welcome, Marie, again, Michelle, Dion. Glad. Hey, Anne. Nice to see you, honey. Glad to see you here. Welcome in from Newfoundland. Welcome in from Newfoundland. Nice to see you. Let me ask you this. For people that are local, what do you locals think about what happened to Dylan and or Jack or Lily? What are your theories? It's a free, judgment-free zone here. So if you're willing to share, and I'm going to start reading this article. 5 years after Nova Scotia boy Dylan Ethler went missing, searchers take another look. There's a grieving family behind us right now, and they want their son back. A dozen volunteers were on the ground this weekend searching for Dylan Ethler. I don't know why I cannot pronounce his name. Ethler, a 3-year-old who was last seen 5 years ago in Truro, Nova Scotia. Please Bring Me Home, a volunteer-led national organization, conducted the search with community members and the boy's father. I wasn't even aware that it was the same organization that came in to look for Jack and Lily. Wow, good for them. 5 volunteers from the organization from Ontario flew in on Friday and began their search along the CN rail line, not too far from where Dylan went missing. The organization says it's been aware of Dylan's case since the time of his disappearance. It has been working alongside Dylan's father, Jason Eller. There's a grieving family behind us right now, and they want their son back, said Melissa Noel, an investigator with the team. They want to have a place to go and remember him and put him behind them. There's this picture of his beautiful little face. Disappeared on the 3rd of May, 2020 in the town of Truro. This is a Facebook post. Dylan was last seen playing in the yard of his grandmother's home on Elizabeth Street during a 6-day search following his disappearance. All that was found was a pair of the boy's boots in Leper Brook, a creek near the house that feeds into the Salmon River. Noel said the team found an item of interest on Saturday, about 160 kilometers away from the grandmother's house, that had since been turned over to the Truro police. CBC News was unable to confirm the information with the Truro police on Sunday. Among the community volunteers is Michael Leger, who helped with the search along the Salmon River. He's a local school teacher and has 2 kids of his own. And this is the picture of Dylan's dad, Josh Eller. Eller. I recognize his face. I don't recognize the mother's face in this case. The Holy Spirit just impressed upon me that we needed to go and help, said Leger. So Jason Eller was said searching for his own son while knowing that there are 2 kids in Nova Scotia who have disappeared is overwhelming. Jack and Lily were reported missing on May 2nd in Lansdowne Station. My heart goes out to the family, said Eller. The feeling of watching it all play out again is like reliving my own nightmare, even though I relive it every day. The search was set to conclude Sunday. Police said Dylan Eller's disappearance remains an active investigation, and any with information can call police directly at 902-895-5351. So let me go into the chat now. This article is dated June 1st, 2025. So not even 6 months ago. So let's check in. 50 parents are involved. Seawood says in unaliving or trafficking. Hey, Donna, sweetie. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. So how was your holiday, my dear? We've got a lot of new people in the chat. So Donna is our wonderful moderator, one of our moderators here, who just got married and was on her little beautiful honeymoon, her little break from true crime. A little break because she still showed up for some of the lives. Donna, love you, missed you. Say hello to Donna, everybody. And I know, Seawood, it's Eller. I don't know what it is. It's just like, I'm usually pretty literate, but that name is just like a tongue twister from my brain. Truth for J and L, you think they were trafficked. You think all the kids were trafficked? Did y'all see? I don't think Jack and Lily are no longer with us, sadly to say. Yeah, it's pretty sad. I'm fairly new to Dylan's case. Hello, Anne. I find it hard to believe he disappeared in 18. Well, exactly 18 seconds. The time it took for grandmother to put the dog on the leash. It's like someone was waiting for an opportunity. Yeah, that's exactly my first instinct. Or grandma, did something. There was an accident or something. Thank you, Donna. Let me go back up. You think it was maternal grandmothers linked in both cases? You think it was maternal grandmothers in both cases? That's so interesting. That's so interesting. Hello, Jane Doe. You're in from Alberta. Welcome in. Anne says, hello, Whispering Winds. Hope your honeymoon was great. That's interesting. I never really thought about that at Carlene, but there was talk about the two of them being known to each other. See, I heard that too. Where did you all hear that? I don't know. I don't want to spread, misinformation, but I heard that too, that they knew each other, which is also why I was leaning towards, if that's the case, that maybe trafficking, you know? So yeah, so it feels like I haven't seen you guys in forever. I took the day off yesterday. It felt like a holiday. And we got cut so short and so rudely on our Saturday morning live when we tried to cover trafficking. So, oh, you just your intuition. Okay, well, no, I heard it. Somebody said it somewhere. I don't remember where. I think it was somebody posted it in one of the Facebook groups. So I cannot say that it's true, but since you just said that too, I thought, because I saw somebody post that the grandmothers apparently know each other, and I don't remember whose channel, if it was another YouTubers or not, that the Malaya's, I think, grandmother, Cindy's mom, her name is escaping me right now, Cindy's mom, the one she lived with, his grandmother knows the grandmother, Dylan's grandmother, that they know each other. Now, I don't know. Let's Google how far. I mean, I don't want to get into conspiracy theory here, so I won't bother to Google. But Patty, yes, thank you, Donna. Patty and Dylan's grandmother, I heard, know each other, but I have no idea whether that's true or not. So don't want to get into conspiracies. So I'm just going to go through Wikipedia quickly and make sure there's nothing that is imminent that we've missed with details in the case. And then we can watch a couple of videos. Also, ages 3, so similar ages, right, to Jack and Lily. May 6th, Jack and Lily were also in the month of May. May 2nd, assuming it wasn't the night before it was reported. And Dylan disappeared May 6th, 2020. So also missing from the residence of his grandmother, Dorothy Parsons, on Elizabeth Street in Truro. I mean, how far is Truro from Gairloch Road? I mean, just for fun, let me just Google, just for fun. Elizabeth Street to Gairloch Road. Distance by car. Truro, not Toronto. Oh God. Street. Truro, Nova Scotia. 38 minutes. 38 minutes. Welcome, Diana. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. That's very nice. Thank you. Thank you, honey. Welcome to the membership. No, they're both from Truro. I don't know. I don't think, well, I have no idea. I have no idea. And I'm just, even assuming that grandmother's who lives in Truro, Dorothy Parsons, where Dylan disappeared from. I'm just saying, is it out of the realm of possibility that they knew each other, given that Gerlach Road, or even Malaya, I'm sorry, Malaya, does Patty live in Truro as well? I just realized that. Okay, no, I read Janie knows Dylan's grandmother. Okay. Janie knows. Okay. Dylan was at his mom's. So she dropped him off at grandma's. Yes, no, I know that. I was just trying to see about the grandma link, but I know. Aw, Donna, that's so sweet of you. Donna, thank you so much. That's very sweet of you. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Donna. Patty does live in Truro. Okay, so that's exactly what I was thinking. So that the fact, if they're both from Truro, then that makes it more believable, doesn't it? More plausible as a possibility that they knew each other, which is very interesting because we did the live that got cut short. Thank you, Donna, sweetie. Yeah, yes, he would. Thank you. You can thank Donna, honey, and YouTube decides who gets the membership. So yeah, so anyways, if we go back to the theory, if the grandmothers knew each other, just speculation, then I would lean in the trafficking route for both kids. But let's keep talking about Dylan. We were running, if you didn't see it, I did a live Saturday morning about looking into the trafficking rings in Canada, and I read some stats, and then we got copyright stricken and the stream got taken down. I had to stop playing the video I was playing, and then everybody got back, were allowed back into the stream. So it was cut short, but we still had an hour's worth of information there. And Halifax is one of the highest trafficking rings in Canada. I'm also Canadian, for those of you that are new here. So that blows me away. I had no idea that Halifax was the hub, one of the main hubs, not the top city, but one of the top trafficking areas. And the disproportionately, like per capita, per the population of Halifax, 6 times more trafficking episodes or incidents that are reported out of Halifax than anywhere in Canada. Did you guys know that? That blows me away. Well, how far is Truro from Halifax? I mean, I have a girlfriend in Truro. It's 45 minutes away. You guys would know. Nova Scotia rates are higher than Toronto. Yes, he would. Exactly. Because of the port in Halifax. You're right, Carlene. Because I've been researching trafficking. I know, Donna, the whole thing. If you guys missed it, it was quite dramatic. Hey, and oh, thank you. And again, Donna. Yeah, so we only got an hour in, and then we got copyright warnings and the whole bit. But go back and watch that. I can put the link here. Or Donna, if you can, put the link in here for me, honey, for anybody that wants to watch it after this. Or I can forward you over there if I can figure out how to do that, or put the link in here. But yeah, anyways, it's all good. Thanks, Marie. But it's now it really truly has me curious about these two cases and whether that angle is even being looked at um in either case, you know. So let me just read this background just a little bit of it. I don't want to do too much of the reading because I know that's boring, but I do want to just get some of the information here, and then we'll watch some videos. And then you can tell me what you think the differences and similarities are. I've got a list I started. Dylan, I'm just going to forget his last name since it's going to mess me up. It's just a tongue twister. I actually went to speech therapy when I was a kid. I used to have a speech lisp when I was a kid, when I was in grade 1, and for some reason, this one is just hard for me. So Dylan is a Canadian boy whose disappearance on May 6, 2020, at the age of 3, became the subject of much media interest. His parents, Ashley Brown and Jason Eller, criticized what they regarded as shortcomings in the initial police investigation. Well, that's a similarity right there, right? They also filed a suit under provincial cyberbullying law against 2 administrators of a social media group that had hosted messages suggesting the parents were negligent or responsible for the death of their son. The background is Dylan was born April 16th, 2017, was 3 years old when he went missing from the residence of his grandmother, Dorothy Parsons, on Elizabeth Street in Truro, Nova Scotia. His mother, Ashley Brown, had gone to meet a friend for coffee and dropped the boy off to be babysat by Parsons. Dylan's father, Jason, and Ashley had recently been in a domestic dispute. Well, there's another similarity because we learn later on that Malaya claims that Daniel was abusive, taking her phone, pinning her down, and controlling where she went. Not proven, but alleged. Dispute. So they had recently had a domestic dispute at the time involving a broken cell phone, and alleged assault, and a death threat. According to Parsons, Dylan had been in her backyard with her pet dog when he vanished. I went to tie the dog on her lead, and I turned around and Dylan is just gone. I have no explanation. That's a direct quote. So, grammatically incorrect. Dylan is just gone. I feel like Malaik's used something similar. Was just gone, or I don't know. I have no explanation. Parsons argued that the boy had been abducted. It's unclear how long it took Parsons to tether the dog to its lead, or how Dylan was found, how Dylan was out of Parsons' sight, how long, rather, Dylan was out of Parsons' sight. No one suspects. No known suspects, oh my MG, were spotted by Parsons in the backyard that day. Police investigators believe that the boy might have fallen into Leopard Brook, which fed into Solomon River, a local waterway known for a strong undercurrent. Rubber boots, which he was wearing, were found in the waterway and were all that remained of Dylan after his disappearance. Let me just check in with y'all. Okay, thank you for the clarifier, Jane Doe. Thank you. Thank you for the clarifier. So it was Malaya's family members. Okay, thank you. Let's just read a little bit more and then we'll get into watching some videos. Dylan's parents have since blamed the lack of the prompt response time by authorities for his ongoing absence and have expressed criticism towards volunteer rescue workers aiding in the search. According to his mother, they never treated Dylan's case like a criminal investigation. They treated it like a search and rescue. Well, doesn't that sound familiar? I know they didn't block off any streets. They didn't stop the public from coming into the crime scene of the area that he went missing. And they were very late on issuing alerts and getting help. So I think that tunnel vision did have a play in that. Once they found the boots and that was it, that's where he went. And essentially the police tell us that we need to accept that and move on. Please search the waterways near Parsons' backyard for several days using underwater cameras and thermal imaging devices, as well as rigged up mannequin with similar body proportions to Dylan, putting it in the water to test what would happen and where he would go. I'm guessing wild. Well, I told you I volunteer with the Find Me group, and we found a boy that the police had searched for 2 weeks for in the river and weren't able to find him. And it took us another 2 weeks to get to the exact location. So when I hear, I'm just trying to be objective here at this point, not really knowing anything about this case. When I hear 6 days, I don't know that that's that long to give up searching in the waterway that is known to be, a strong current, as they're saying. So I'm not really sure. But I also don't believe that he could have gotten that far in 18 seconds. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Okay, let me go on because there's some other information here that is super interesting. Dylan's parents have since blamed the lack of police response time by authorities for his ongoing absence of expressed criticism towards the rescue workers. I did read this, but we're going to recap again since I was talking. Aiding in the search. According to his mother, they never treated Dylan's case like a criminal investigation. They treated it like a search and rescue. I know that they didn't block off any streets. They didn't stop the public from coming into the crime scene in the area that he went missing. And they were very late on issuing alerts and getting help. So I think the tunnel vision did not have a play that did the television did have a play in that. And I want to repeat that, not only to refresh my memory, but also because we see that in Jack and Lily. There was a tunnel vision from the onset. Once they found the boots, that was it, and parents were told basically to move on. I'm paraphrasing. So after the disappearance, the videos were discovered posted to social media platform TikTok by Dylan's mother, Ashley Brown. One video featured Ashley lip syncing to an audio with Dylan that said, "This Emmer ever will send me to jail someday." Ashley lip syncing an audio with Dylan that said, "This mother effer will send me to jail someday." What? Another video has been posted of Ashley lip syncing to an audio clip to the tune of "Do You Want to Build a Snowman" from Disney's Frozen. "Will you help me hide a body? Come on, we can't delay. No one can see him on the floor. Get him out the door before he can decay." Whoa. Whoa. There's no evidence to suggest Ashley spoke any of this aloud to Dylan, only that she mouthed the words as the audio played on her phone. The videos had been deleted by Ashley, then reposted for a short time on a true crime website. They are still publicly available elsewhere. Snippets of the video can be featured in the W5 documentary by CTV News, Where is Dylan? Or Where's Dylan? Wow. That is effing wild. That is really weird. Yeah. Welcome in, YouTuber. That reminds me of Mr. Jordan going nuts with that rant. Really creepy. Yeah, creepy, and that's what began all the drama. Yeah, so we got more family creepiness in the vibe, which we also have with Jack and Lily. Truth, just my belief that there's just a creepy family vibe in both cases, and that Jordan Getty's was very weird. Yeah, the very weird words, very creepy. Wow is right. Yeah. You still think you cover all avenues. Still, you would think to cover all avenues. Yeah. Yeah. So that's just how long was it before the grandmother called the police? Let's see if we can get that in. And or some adamant went in the woods and not by the road. Yeah, I don't know. I'm disappointed in their narrative, but that's police work. They can't give the suspects, if they have any suspects in mind, their real theories, can they? Or they wouldn't catch them, would they? So, I mean, I get it. Let's just keep reading here. That is just scary. In the wake of this is the public response in the wake of Dylan's disappearance and in the light of his mother's video uploads, various online communities considered whether she or another family member had murdered Dylan and hidden his body. Catherine Laidlaw of Wired magazine considered that this public response was in part fueled by the rural nature of the Maritimes and the high rate of missing persons in Nova Scotia, noting that much of the province is covered with thick forest and underdeveloped land. A Facebook group was started with over 17,000 members at its height, in which the case was debated and allegations were made that Dylan was killed by a family member. The Ethler Brown family was accused of negligence towards Dylan, leading to Halifax lawyer Alison Harris seeking to have the group removed under Nova Scotia's Intimate Images and Cyber Protection Act and anti-bullying law. And settlements were reached with the group's two administrators in mid-2021, in which they were forbidden from contacting Dylan's family and from creating any new internet groups about the disappearance. Wow. The legal action was a landmark case in the province regarding cyberbullying. Similar cases involving bullied suicide victim Raitia Parsons had been quashed in prior years, although it was argued that it limits freedom of speech to restrict how uninvolved parties share public discourse about ongoing police investigations. According to Harris, her intent was not to limit free speech online, but rather to balance freedom of speech on the one hand with preventing harm to people being targeted by malicious online postings on the other. Some of the comments shared in the group included usage of the word bitch directed towards Dylan's mother with no critical context, as well as allegations of Satan worshiping and murder, neither of which have ever been proven. Most of the Facebook posts were later removed from the internet, except those quoted in media interviews for the purposes of reporting the cyberbullying case. Dylan's family have consistently maintained their lack of involvement in his disappearance. Parsons, which is the grandmother, Dorothy Parsons, in particular, has suggested that the boy may have been abducted while she was busy with her dog, although the police did not suspect foul play. In an interview for CTV News, Dylan's mother admitted that her TikTok videos were inappropriate, but argued that the public has taken them out of context. The Frozen song video, in particular, was intended, according to Ashley, to coincide with an ongoing internet trend of posting parodies of Frozen soundtracks, and the video was meant to be morbid humor and in no way related to Dylan. Okay, that's okay. Even so, even so, even so, um, just think it's sort of weird that your son's missing and you think it's okay to be, even if your story is truthful, it's just weird that you're in the mood to post morbid humor while your 3-year-old son is missing. I I don't know. I'm not saying we watch later. Yeah, I'm not saying very common fact in both cases. Yeah. In our opinion, yeah, it was the mother who dropped Dylan off to her mother's. Is it possible she waited for an opportunity? Yeah. I don't know, Anne. I mean, I don't know. So in January 2022, Dylan's father was arrested. Whoa. And charged with fraud after being caught using a deceased person's banking information at 3 different financial institutions local to Bible Hill area. What? Okay, because we had the whole Bible Hill area come up in something else I did. In January, about Jack and Lily, in January 2022, let me repeat that for my own brain. Dylan's father was arrested and charged with fraud after being caught using a deceased person's banking information. OMG. So Dylan goes missing May 6th, 2020, and January 2022, 18 months later, a little roughly, he's arrested for using a deceased person's banking card. Wow. Court information shows he is accused of falsifying checks written from Melanie McCormick, deceased party, to himself for various amounts ranging from 100 to 800. He is accused of cashing and defrauding the TD Bank, Royal Bank, and Bank of Montreal in Truro on occasions from November 15th, 23 to 2021. OMG. Oh my gosh. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that? Wow. A year after Dylan's disappearance, his family placed numerous paper boats in Leper Brook as a form of memorial to the boy, which the public could join in on. Today was more of a gathering for Dylan to talk about him and spread awareness. To hold a special moment for him, said his father. He would have loved to have thrown boats in the water. The alert petition, in the hopes of establishing a stronger public alert system in Nova Scotia, Dylan's parents started a petition setting up the Ethler alert, a public alert system which would facilitate the rapid distribution of information to public among youth lost in potentially hazardous environments, according to Jason. Wow. Well, isn't that wild? That I was going to say, why do I recognize Bible Hill? Thank you. Thank you, y'all. You guys are great. Thank you. That is absolutely mind blowing. Like, that is wild. Okay, let's watch a YouTube video here. Let's watch some videos. We are done reading. And then we'll just discuss what you see as similarities, differences, what you think, what your thoughts are about what happened to Dylan here. This is just wild. Okay, so this is courtesy of Unfiltered Stories. Let's see what this creator has done. They've put out some statements from Dad here.
My name is Jason Ethler. I'm the father of a missing child, Dylan Ethler. He went missing May 6th, 2020. The day I found out I was going to be a dad, it was one of the best feelings that I could ever have. Dylan was born Easter morning at around 7 a.m. It was a wonderful feeling. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Dylan growing up, amazing child. You would never forget his smile, that's for sure. Very outgoing, always doing things that would make your heart thump. Not scared of much of anything. He's a wonderful child. Dylan was 3 years old when he went missing. He was with his mom. Ashley had dropped him off at the grandmother's, Dorothy, at around 10:30 that morning. I do believe that she gave him a kiss and told the grandmother, if you bring the puppy outside, to put Dylan's harness on. They made a joke about it. Dylan and the pup would have a harness. So it was pretty normal for the grandmother to take Dylan every now and again. Ashley dropped Dylan off at around 10:30. Dorothy was going to go outside with Dylan and the puppy. It was around 1 o'clock. They went outside. She had Dylan in one hand and the puppy on a leash in the other hand. They walked down to the bottom of the stairs. There was a lead out there for the dog. So apparently Dylan was a foot to 2 feet away from the grandmother. She turned around to tie the dog, and then she turned back and Dylan had vanished. And there's been no evidence ever since. The way I discovered my son going missing, me and my mom just decided to go pick him up. Around 3 o'clock, I showed up at Dorothy's, and the cops were already there. There was one police officer, female. I get out of the car. I walked into it. I said, "What's going on?" The cops said, "Your son went missing."
Wow. Okay. Is that not weird? But is that not weird that she doesn't call her son or like her daughter? Yeah, exactly. I don't know what you're talking about, Seawood. I don't understand. I'm just going to go up. I don't understand. Like, yeah, no kidding. Yeah, like, probably guilty of. Yeah, so blacklisted. Yeah, this is wild. This is wild. I just, now you compile. Okay, so just, in summary, Dylan is forging checks, writing them to himself from a deceased person's account. How he got that person's checks and cards and banking information is very curious. So he's definitely not Mr. Kumbaya. And is it his mom? I don't know for sure. Dorothy, I'm assuming, is the stepmom. Sorry, Dylan's mother's mother. His mother-in-law, in other words, doesn't call the kids when Dylan goes missing. They wait for them to drive home with the police there. That is also bizarro. That is, I don't think that is a normal response. Do you?
And I hit the ground.
I don't.
It's a blur after that. I remember bits and pieces, but the shock kicked in real fast. I showed up 3 hours after my son went missing. Dylan went missing around 1:15 p.m. And by the time I got there, K9 was just getting there. So it took K9 almost 2 hours or more to show up to the scene. When I showed up, search and rescue wasn't there yet, and it had already been almost 3 hours at that point. I was confused why no one was looking for him. I just remember family members showing up, everybody being supportive, trying to find Dylan, being 3 years old. It was overwhelming. The shock is crazy. It's hard to explain. You're in and out. I remember after the community supporting and search and rescue, the next day we had a visit with Chief, and he had a picture of boots. Ashley had identified them as being Dylan's boots. One boot was found that night at 7:30, May 6, 2020, in the evening, and the second one around 8 or 9. And it took probably 7.5 hours for them to find his boots. That's when things got serious and emotions went high, and you're just scared. I remember that night, I stayed up all night. I searched for a little bit until I was made to go home. I stared out the window right till morning. The not knowing is crazy. The worst feeling you could possibly have. It's like you lose your child in a mall for just a split second. You imagine that for hours and hours and hours, and now 2.5 years. And that feeling doesn't change. You're always wondering. It's tough all the way around. We didn't get proper support from the police. Search for Dylan, they just called it off. We had to find our own cadaver dog. A lot of things weren't done proper in Dylan's investigation and search. When Dylan went missing, there was a mass shooting that happened in Nova Scotia, Canada's biggest mass shooting, and Dylan went missing 2 weeks after that. It was already chaos in the town. 22 people dying around you from a mass shooting to a little boy going missing right after. It was a lot to handle for the community. It's been
I remember that, being Canadian. No, Donna, they took Dylan's mom and dad went for coffee and brought Dylan during their date to Dorothy, the grandmother, where Dylan disappeared. Dorothy, the grandmother, claims she turned around to put the dog on his leash, tether him up, and when she turned back around, Dylan was gone, which would take, what, 10 seconds? Yeah, it seems that way. And I don't know which side of the family the grandmother's on. I haven't found that yet. Thank you, Seawood. I'll look that up. I'm just gonna take a picture. I'll look that up another day. If we continue to cover him, I'd like to continue to cover him, assuming everybody's interested in that. There's a recording of him talking to people on the phone about how he can get more rugs than anybody would want. Yeah. So, I mean, let's just say at the very least, it sounds like both dads here, well, at least Daniel being stepdad, Jason being dad, had drug issues. Could these be drug debts? Could the kidnapping be as a result of drug debts? I mean, I don't know, but that sounds like another interesting thing that connects them. And I'm going to sound like a wackadoodle for saying this. I'm just going to say it because when we were following the underground residential home video, remember in Sebastian Rogers, for anybody here in the chat that was on that live, we covered, I couldn't believe when I started researching underground residential homes, how prominent they are in the United States. And someone said in the chat, I can't remember how it came up, but that there's an allegation that there are government organizations that are connected to these underground residential homes, like in Canada's CPS, if you will, that basically run this underground. We're going to take these kids from these homes of massive neglect and we're going to underground and take them somewhere else to a better life. Now, I sound like I should be wearing a tinfoil hat when I say that. Hey, welcome in, Veronica. Welcome in. Nice to see you, honey. Nice to see you. I hope you feel better. No worries. No worries. I'm just wondering if that tinfoil hat thing is like anybody else have that and heard that? Because I've heard that more than once in some of the investigations that I've been doing, that there's a Good Samaritan, if you will, organization connected underground to government to save some of these kids. No way. Was it you that said it yesterday in the chat? Or did you say it yesterday? Truro Police. Yeah. So, I don't know. It was first handled by the Truro Police. RCMP was requested later on. Okay, thank you. I think you mean your Truro Police. Saves a lot of money in court procedures. Well, I don't know. I have no idea. Nothing in this world would ever surprise me. Yeah, you're right. We got the boots again, right? One other similarity with the kids. We got the boots. I saw someone posted that. So we've got disappeared while in care of family. Both dads alleged drug users. Family violence. Domestic violence rumored again. Rumored. What else have we got? Boot print. Oh yeah, I read somewhere that Dylan's was found with a blanket. That there was a blanket found. Is that true? A blanket found somewhere in the search? Am I confusing? Okay, so far, here's what I've got for similarities. I'm going to, we'll see. Did I copy that? No, I didn't. I didn't copy that, and I can't copy it now, so. J&L blanket, Dylan boots. Well, yes, thank you, Donna. Okay, let's keep listening to this here.
In my tiny search, I call them search family. I've made good friends with people that never met Dylan, and they still, after over a year, they still come out and search. I search almost every day. I search every weekend for 2.5 years now. I haven't stopped. This has affected my life in every way possible. Not only did our son go missing, we dealt with one of Canada's biggest cyberbullying to the point where we had to use the cyberbullying legislation that was only used once in Canada. Thousands of people destroying you, saying you killed your son. I've had 8 ransoms altogether where people would call and say they're going to kill my child if I didn't give them a X amount of money. People message me and say, I know where your son's at. And it's sad because the only thing that they're hurting is they're obviously hurting us, but they're hurting him. You know, who wants to go and search for a little boy if they're worried about someone hacking them or someone harassing them, or it's a whole different level of cyberbullying that we've dealt with. It's changed my life in every way. For me to go get a job with all the rumors, there's a group of people that still follow today, and if they find out where I'm working or if they stalk you and they destroy you in any way possible, and that still happens today. You know, I've had a 6-month conversation with somebody I thought I knew, and it wasn't them, and they were hacked. At the same time, I don't even know what's real and what's not. I talked to a friend one day, and they needed help. I drove from Moncton to Truro, which is 2 hours away, for the cops to be standing there waiting for me because somebody had called in this fake nonsense, and it just goes on and on. It's disgusting. Right now there's a lot going on. We're making a documentary movie for Dylan. We're kind of on our own for finding him. Resources don't get back to us. I haven't spoke to my lead investigator in over a year because they refused to because of the hearing coming up, which took 2 years. So I haven't talked to anybody in 2 years. It's confusing and angering and overwhelming. I don't want people to give up. Keep an eye out for Dylan. All we can do is support and spread awareness, spread his missing poster around. Most importantly, for Nova Scotia, we're supposed to be Nova Scotia strong, so I think we can be a little more stronger for the youngest child to ever disappear without a trace in Nova Scotia. If it was your child that went missing, would you want to give up? Would you just want to stop?
I gotta say, he just doesn't give off any weird, inappropriate vibes to me. Like, if I hadn't have just read what I read on Wikipedia, I wouldn't be able to guess it. Yes, he has a beautiful smile. Maria, I saw your point, but Dylan's grandmother didn't leave him alone. She simply turned around um, to put the dog on the leash, apparently. So she was outside with him. So a little bit different, in my opinion. Whereas, Malaya and Daniel admitted to just letting them play on their own and not getting out of bed. But he doesn't come off as the person we just read about in Wikipedia. And it's very interesting. Very interesting.
People to support. He's 3 years old. If I want people to show up on his searches. That's one of the most important things. I go out if someone needs help looking for a missing dog or animals or a missing person. I join Wings of Mercy. I'll look for another person. If I can do it, anyone can do it. I have a missing child, and I think anyone with a missing child would want the help. He might not have went into a brook or a river, but we can't count that out. So in our situation, he either drowned or somebody took him. That's all we know. We need your help. Dylan would be 5 years old now. He would be turning 6 April 16th. He also has a right eye that is half blue, half hazel. If you're watching this and if you don't have anything to do and you live in Nova Scotia, if you can spare some time to look for a 3-year-old child, we'd awfully be grateful. Just follow me on Facebook. That's where I share most of my search events, and it's the best way to get in contact with me. We need a community to bring a child home. If anyone's interested in helping or want to learn about Dylan's disappearance, you can go onto my YouTube channel, DED, with a blue heart and a green heart. You can learn about his investigation and stuff like that, and what we've done, how much we've fought. But most of all, jump on and share his poster on Facebook. If you're out there and you see children, please take a second look. I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for letting me tell my story. Let's bring Dylan home.
Sorry. Jeez, I keep muting myself. It's just, yeah, no kidding, right? From what I can see so far, it's similar to Malaya, where the mothers are just MIA, right? Funny though, Lily had her backpack and she only ever used if she was going to stay with visitors. So how would she know to take the backpack? Had someone told her she was going? Yeah, well, that's definitely what is, I think what Daniel's suggesting, right? Yeah, well, this is just it. I find the mother's absence so far interesting, but I don't know. enough right yet to say say anything. Let's just wrap this up. We're going to get to another video. Very sad. I also thought how interesting that he's got one eye that's two different colors. Like that at least is something that he would be recognizable, God willing, and he's found, much like Madeleine McCann, right? Like that's very interesting. No, Dylan's mom is talking. Is she? Okay. Well, if she's talking, then that's much better. The mother believes Dylan went into the water. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So that's definitely different. That is definitely different than from, there we go. This is his channel here. Interesting. Okay. DED. I already had his video pulled up. So let's be respectful here because I don't want him coming after me for anybody saying anything while we play his video. So everybody is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. And even if you are a drug user, that doesn't make you a murderer, right? So let's be respectful while I play some of the videos from his YouTube channel here. Let's find the right, for the love of God, Liane. It's giving me a hard time today. Giving me a hard time. Okay, this video is titled, we're going to stop it and see if we can find another one because this video is titled Missing Child Dylan Ethler, Nova Scotia System Failure, Police Under Review, Records Investigation Begins. I thought it would be informative and not Jason just ranting on screen. Sorry about that, everybody. It was interesting though, because what I don't know. Let's go watch another one of his videos another day, maybe. But it's just a weird, it's when he talks, he sounds different. I'm still going to go with that statement. That video is surprising for me too. I don't know. It's a lot of weirdness. It's just, it's just that was just a weird video. The guy's weird. Sorry. Doesn't make him a killer, but it's definitely got a weird vibe. Okay, let's watch this. We're on Lorton's Arts. Where is Dylan? Either kidnapping or tragic accident. Here's Mom.
What? And the whole world fell apart right there. I hit the ground, started crying.
This family has literally been through it all with the disappearance of the.
Yes, well, we cannot play W5. That was for sure get me a strike. So no go. You're welcome to watch it on your own, but that is absolutely not going to be able to happen here. Regrettably, big YouTube rules.
Their son. Is this really just a matter of I looked away for 1 second too long, or is something else at play here? It's time to turn on the searchlight for Dylan Norman John Ethler. Welcome back to Brain Scratch Searchlight. I'm John Lorden. Thank you so much for caring about these cases like I do. Before we get into today's case, I want to let you know about a great charity event and how you can be a part of it. Private Investigations for the Missing has been the secret sauce, helping to move many missing persons cases forward. Founded by Bruce Maitland, father of missing person Brianna Maitland, this nonprofit organization provides professional investigative services to families of missing persons at no cost. Since 2018, they've been involved with over 80 missing persons cases, and now they're holding their first 5K Run for the Missing. It'll be held at Memorial Park in Reading, Massachusetts on October 8th, 2023. All funds raised will go directly to their mission of supporting families with missing loved ones. Support a great charity while you participate in this fun run at your own pace. And if you just can't be there in person, you can also run it virtually and still support this amazing organization. We have a link in the description box down below with all the details that you need. I'm also very proud to announce that Lorden say that their 3-year-old son, Dylan, is a true country boy with the most outgoing personality they have ever seen. His enthusiasm for life is contagious. Dylan never gives up. They say he would just get back up on his feet and keep going no matter what he's trying to do. All that energy makes him pretty fast, and that can sometimes make it hard to keep up with him. Dylan's parents fondly remember how excited he was to receive his new bicycle on his birthday in April of 2020. His father, Jason, would say, "I remember that day so well. He was off that bike and then into another person's yard on their real motorbike, just in like 4 seconds. He was that fast, nonstop. He was..."
Okay, so that fast is in support of the theory, right? That grandma just literally turned around, tied the dog up, and he was gone. Dylan's mom has been very vocal. It was her who was babysitting. Dylan's mom's has been very vocal. It was her mother that was babysitting Dylan at the time. Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you. Well, let's watch a few minutes of this, and then we can go back to one of his other videos. That one was just not what I expected from his site.
a very, very happy child. Dylan was always on an adventure, whether he was playing in the dirt with his toy trucks and trains or watching his favorite television show, Paw Patrol. He brought all of his energy and love for life to everything and everyone that he encountered. Each day ended with his insistence that his parents read to him before bed. The Cat in the Hat is his favorite book. Life for this couple wasn't always easy, though. With the pandemic, everything in their area was in lockdown, and because of it, both Ashley and Jason lost their jobs. Isolation during this time had a detrimental effect on a lot of people and relationships. Ashley and Jason were affected by this as well. Tempers were short, money more than tight. On one morning in May, an argument escalated into a fight that saw the couple actually be arrested. Ashley was charged with assault for striking Jason, and he was charged with mischief and uttering threats for breaking her cell phone and threatening her. A court date for their hearing was set later that summer, and both were given a no contact order. Jason went to stay with his parents, who lived about 15 minutes away, while Ashley stayed in their home. They each relied on their mothers to ferry the children back and forth to them. This thankfully enabled Jason to see Dylan every day. On Wednesday, May 6th, 2020, Dylan was visiting his grandmother, Dorothy Parsons, at her home in Truro. Truro is known as the hub of Nova Scotia. An important highway interchange is located just north of Truro, where Highway 102 ends at Highway 104. They're both 4-lane expressways. There's
to answer your question, not that I'm aware of. Yeah, exactly. I noticed the same thing, Blue Heron. Yeah, I noticed the same thing. Definitely.
also some nearby roads that form part of the Glooscap Trail, which is a scenic route that's used by many tourists. As of 2021, the population in Truro, just under 13,000 people. At 1:15 p.m. on that day, grandmother Dorothy, Dylan, and a family dog were outside playing. Dorothy turned to put the dog on its leash, and when she turned back, Dylan was simply gone. She immediately called for help, and people nearby began to search for Dylan. 5 minutes.
I mean, if Dylan was that fast, I don't know. Like, why would you let him? Why would you turn your back long enough to let that happen? I don't know.
Later, when no immediate signs could be found,
I don't want to guilt trip, but it just seems like 18 seconds. Like, somebody said 18 seconds in the chat. I don't know if that was a guess or if it was a fact. I mean, I could say you could probably tie your dog up in less than 18 seconds. I mean, you turn your back, you're tying the dog up. It's what, a 3 seconds? How did he get away that fast? And nobody was seen leaving with him. He wasn't seen running away. I don't know if I believe, doesn't make her guilty of anything else other than maybe that she didn't just turn around to put the dog on the tether. Maybe she did a few other things, you know? I don't know.
She called the police. Within 4 minutes of that phone call, officers arrived on the scene and they started searching the area. 2.5 hours later, the Truro Fire Department,
And
Colchester
you're
Search
so
and Rescue, and even a National Resources helicopter were out and looking. There was also a focus on one particular spot. At the back of Dylan's grandparents' house is a small body of water.
No way,
Dave
Shar.
McNeil, chief of the Truro Police Service, described that body of water. Quote, "There is a quick-moving brook, Leper Brook, that runs parallel to Elizabeth Street."
Okay, so you're saying it was confirmed. They said he had autism and couldn't speak very well. Wow. I know you are, honey, but right now I'm just writing my book and I'm so into that at the moment. But you never know. You never know. Oh, she said she turned her back for 18 seconds. Okay, but that's so specific. How do you, I love you, Anne. I appreciate the thought. And it's awesome. I don't know where I was hoping that Crystal would be here because she sent me the coolest email about another thought, which is so weird. She had a vision of me creating something that my daughter and I talked about a few years ago. But well, this is it. Who that specificity. Why can't I speak tonight? Oh my God. Specificity. What I'm like, forget it. I've never had so tongue twisted. I'll research it with you. Thank you, Anne. That specific detail just itself is weird. How do you know it was 18 seconds? Like, how do you know? Like, how would you? That's too specific. That is too specific. That is so weird. Oh, that is so weird. And no dog barking. Right. Exactly, Donna. And then now, Shar, thank you. The autism as well. I didn't know that. That is okay, Shar, but still. Okay, well then that makes sense. You would hear branches snapping from the person's feet. How can someone take someone in the woods without anyone hearing? Well, that's just it. It's so weird. Doesn't talk to her mother anymore whatsoever. Dylan's mom, according to that interview on the news channel, doesn't talk to her mother anymore whatsoever. Well, I heard that they were angry with mom, and yeah, just it sounds a little odd.
The water is very high there this time of year, and it's moving fairly quickly. Firefighters did go into the river, probably chest height, and they were searching the river. The banks are muddy and steep, even though the brook itself is only a few meters across. In May, they were also dealing with spring runoff, and that made the waters move a bit more, and it also made the waters very cold. Investigators feared that Dylan may have fallen into the brook, only to be carried out to Quebecoid Bay via the Salmon River. Quebecoid Bay is an inlet of the Bay of Fundy. The eastern end of the bend hosts the estuary of the Salmon River, whereas the west end of the bay is less well defined. Wired.com tells us that while most rivers flow in one direction, the Salmon is a tidal river, which means it runs in two directions. Every day, a tidal bore sends a wave that is 6 feet high, rippling up the river straight into town, and then it flows back out again. The water, a mix of silt and clay, is a ruddy chocolate brown. Searchers said that this area is not easy to cover, and with the cold waters, it made finding Dylan quickly very important. By 4:30 p.m., no signs of the boy had been found. Local law enforcement issued a localized alert. The alert didn't go out to cell phones, but it was put out to social media and governmental websites because Dylan's disappearance didn't fit the criteria of an Amber Alert. Then, a troubling discovery. At 7:20 p.m., a search and rescue team found one of Dylan's rubber boots. It was submerged in Leper Brook, about 500 feet from Dorothy's house, caught in a shopping cart. Then, at 9 p.m., his other boot was found further down the brook, around a turn where it starts to enter into the Salmon River. No other signs of Dylan were found. While search and rescue continued to work diligently throughout the night, residents checked trash cans, sheds, any place that they thought a 3-year-old might hide, but they turned up no new leads. Police Chief McNeil asked that be the extent of their efforts. Quote, when people are untrained and they try to help search, oftentimes they miss clues, maybe trample over evidence, or maybe become a risk of falling into the ridge of water themselves. So we're just asking people to show support, prayers, and thoughts for the family, and not to get involved with actually physically coming on site to search. The next morning, ground searchers, a canine unit, divers, and drones with thermal imaging and underwater capabilities lent their expertise. They concentrated on the areas where Dylan's boots were found. The teams consisted of at least 45 members, and they focused their efforts near the Salmon River. Everyone hoped and prayed for a quick resolution and Dylan's safe return. At a press conference, Mayor Mills stated that he too was holding out hope of a positive outcome. Quote, I've heard stories about youngsters who were in similar situations who have somehow survived, he said. The next morning, tweets started to appear on Twitter in support of Dylan and his family. One post read, just going to leave these out there for Dylan, and it featured a pair of rubber boots. The Yarmouth Fire Department took this a step further when they posted their picture and challenged other departments to do the same. From there, hundreds of first responders, fire departments, and members of the community followed, spreading the news about young missing Dylan. However, due to no additional clues being found during the search efforts, Truro police sent out a press release only 24 hours after Dylan was reported missing. It said, unfortunately, at this point, the extensive efforts put forth by searchers have not yielded any new clues or information. In consultation with the family, we are now moving from a search mode to a recovery mode. In the days and weeks that followed, efforts continued.
I hope he said that incorrectly, or I heard incorrectly, that was not declared within 1 day. Yeah, it goes out to the bay. Thank you, Diana. I was just going to go backwards and check, but I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah. Let's just go back and I'll just show you the picture. So it goes out to the bay. Down in here. So let's finish this up. We got more videos coming up. I got more videos planned. So let's finish this one up.
Did produce some useful information that the team will be evaluating. The announcement was sad and discouraging, but also began to spring new avenues of thought for the family. They began to wonder, did Dylan actually fall into the brook, or was his disappearance more sinister? In an interview with local press, his father, Jason, described their suspicions. Quote, the boots don't make sense. The boots have never made sense. There were 2 boots that were near the water, and they were found 6 or 7 hours after he disappeared. People covered that ground as soon as Dylan's grandmother screamed for help. As soon as the grandmother called for help, there was a guy instantly at that brook, and there was nothing, no boots, no boy, no nothing. They fear that if Dylan was abducted, the perpetrator could have thrown his boots off of a small railway bridge that crosses Leper Brook, close to where it meets Salmon River, in an effort to throw off the searchers. If that is the case, valuable time was lost during those first hours. To test their theory, a GoFundMe was started that raised reward money with legal advice and the help.
I keep friggin' muting myself. It does go. Let me show you to where it goes so we can answer your question. It does go to the ocean. Okay. It does go to the ocean. Let me just zoom this out. So when you zoom this map in, well, let me zoom it out first. When you zoom it out, there's the ocean, right? Okay, we got Nova Scotia here, the Gulf of St. Lawrence. Okay, Bermuda, Boston, you've got the whole Atlantic here, right? We've got, zooming in, We got from there, this is the Bay of Fundy, still the ocean. It's just Nova Scotia is a peninsula. It's got the peninsula here from the mainland. So then we got the Bay of Fundy. And if you zoom into the Bay of Fundy, into Truro here, where's Truro? Now I've gone the wrong way to the Bay of Fundy in here. There's Truro. So there you've got Truro here, Bible Hill, right here, the Quoboquid Bay. The Quoboquid Bay minus turns into this, minus Basin, and then the Bay of Fundy. So yes, it's pretty direct into he disappeared May 6th, 2020. Welcome in, Jerry Lynn. Absolutely. I mean, it sounds like they stopped looking so early. I don't understand. How far is it from Jack and Lily? 38 minutes. But Patty, Malaya's grandmother, lives in Truro, we learned here tonight. And Malaya's family is from Truro, from what I understand. Cindy as well, from what I understand. So same town as Dylan's grandmother. It is absolutely close. And I also didn't realize that he was also, said to be autistic. So there's another similarity.
Help of Truro police, Jason and Ashley decided to offer $10,000 for Dylan's safe and live return, or $1,000 to anyone who leads them to him. An expiration date of July 15th, 2020 was set. It expires because we want immediate results. We don't want somebody to have the opportunity to take their time. We want a sense of urgency with the reward, the family stated. Unfortunately, their bid didn't work and the reward was not collected. It is still available. Today it sits at $20,000. Search efforts continued despite the family's fears until May 12th, when the active search was called off. Since then, the family and community have rallied together to continue to look for Dylan. Since his disappearance, life for Jason and Ashley has been very tough. With no results in the police's search and investigation, the rumor mill began to turn. Soon, online groups started to target the family with seemingly unfounded accusations. The rumors and threats didn't stay online and could soon be heard in the nearby community. The family has suffered ransom demands and threats of all kinds. Jason commented about a few of these, saying, one guy sent a picture of Dylan, but it was all photoshopped and looked like he had bruises on his face and stuff. And he wanted 3 Bitcoin. Another one said he had Dylan in the truck and he'd toss him out the window doing 100 kilometers if I didn't send.
No, Jane Doe, I didn't hear that. That the evidence appearing 5 to 6 after the search. No, I didn't. They used a dummy. Yes, yes. Jane Doe, you want me to rewind it for 2 minutes? Back 2 minutes? Okay, well, I won't do that again, just so you know, because I got a couple other videos I want to get through. But let's rewind it for 2 minutes.
The boots don't make sense. The boots have never made sense. There were 2 boots that were near the water, and they were found 6 or 7 hours after he disappeared. People covered that ground as soon as Dylan's grandmother screamed for help. As soon as the grandmother called for help, there was a guy instantly at that brook, and there was nothing. No boots, no boy, no nothing. They fear that if Dylan was abducted, the perpetrator could have thrown his boots off of a small railway bridge that crosses Leper Brook, close to where it meets Salmon River, in an effort to throw off the searchers. If that is the case, valuable time was lost during those first hours. To test their theory, a GoFundMe was started that raised reward money. With legal advice and the help of Truro police, Jason and Ashley decided to offer $10,000 for Dylan's safe and live return, or $1,000 to anyone who leads them to him. An expiration date of July 15th, 2020 was set. It expires because we want immediate results. We don't want somebody to have the opportunity to take their time. We want a sense of urgency with the reward, the family stated. Unfortunately, their bid didn't work and the reward was not collected. It is still available. Today it sits at $20,000. Search efforts continued despite the family's fears until May 12th, when the active search was called off. Since then, the family and community have rallied together to continue to look for Dylan. Since his disappearance, life for Jason and Ashley has been very tough. With no results in the police's search and investigation, the rumor mill began to turn. Soon, online groups started to target the family with seemingly unfounded accusations. The rumors and threats didn't stay online and could soon be heard in the nearby community. The family has suffered ransom demands and threats of all kinds. Jason commented about a few of these, saying, one guy sent a picture of Dylan, but it was all photoshopped and looked like he had bruises on his face and stuff. And he wanted 3 Bitcoin. Another one said he had Dylan in the truck and he'd toss him out the window doing 100 kilometers if I didn't send him a couple of $1,000s. In response, Dylan's family filed a lawsuit in February of 2021 under Nova Scotia's Intimate Images and Cyber Protection Act against the Facebook groups that were key in spreading the accusations and rumors. In August of 2021, a settlement was reached when it was agreed that the site administrators would be prohibited from reopening a Facebook group on the matter, posting about the case, or communicating with Dylan's parents. Jason said he would like an apology from the group, but the damage is already done. How do you take that back? How do you take Ashley waking up every morning crying? How do they take back us being nervous to go to the store because everybody looks at us like we could be murderers, or we can be this, or we could be that? How do you take back the impact they put on my son's searches? What's done is done, Jason said. Dylan's parents also have demanded changes to the Amber Alert system, as they feel a more urgent and official alert than the one that was sent out could have greatly helped this investigation. There is a change.org petition that you can find. It's titled Justice for Dylan Ethler. According to missingpeople.ca, the parents also asked that the Truro Police Service and their investigation be reviewed because they believe that the service didn't adequately investigate their son's disappearance, claiming that the police failed to realistically pursue and investigate the prospect of criminality. Even as the family had come to consider other scenarios, trying to justify the mysteriously reappearing boots, the Truro Police Service always held the position that there was just no foul play involved. Jason would say, I believe he was kidnapped, but it's hard to say what really happened because all they have are the boots. In August of 2023, it was decided that the complaints were to be dismissed, as the board believed that the service arrived as quickly as possible and that all procedures and policies were followed. Jason and Ashley were devastated. I felt like I was slapped across the face, Jason said to CTV. He says that the police service is not updating them as they should, which makes them feel like they're out of the loop. They're looking at their case now to see if the decision can be appealed. As a matter of fact, one of the more recent YouTube videos on Jason's page is him asking for some form of professional/legal help in trying to get that appeal going forward. And just to be sure that we're being transparent here, look, Jason and Ashley are not perfect people. Jason has other types of charges in his past and even in his present, but they're not charges that would have any bearing on Dylan's disappearance. Even the domestic dispute related charges that we did mention in this episode were discounted by Truro Police Chief Dave McNeil. He said, quote, "This has no bearing on our investigation into Dylan's disappearance at this point. From our perspective, the two are not connected. Totally irrelevant." To this day, Dylan's family searches for Dylan as much as possible. You'll also see that if you visit his father's YouTube page. He's out there regularly looking for any signs of his son. They also hold rallies where Ashley and Jason, along with their supporters, picket the Truro Police Department. It's very clear that Jason and Ashley are stuck in a cycle of grief and that there's no immediate end for them in sight. At the time of his disappearance, Dylan Ethler stood at about 3 feet tall and he weighed around 32 pounds. His left eye is hazel and his right eye is vertically half hazel and half blue. His hair is brown and he was last seen wearing a dark green jacket with brown fur around the hood, camouflage pants, and bluish rubber boots. Please share this video with friends and acquaintances in Nova Scotia, Canada to help us raise awareness. And if you have any information about the disappearance of Dylan Ethler, please contact the Truro Police at 902-895-5351.
Wow, what a sad story. We have other videos to watch, but first I want to just comment on the fact that they found evidence during the search that they didn't find the first go around. I mean, excuse me, how well are the searchers looking? Was it planted? What are the odds? Those are very similar, almost too similar points. Like, what do y'all think about that? That is bizarrio. That is definitely bizarrio. Someone said the dad made a confession. Parents were separating as well. The dad made a confession. We haven't run across that yet. Well, it definitely could be. I mean, it definitely could be, especially with what we learned the other day about the stats in Canada regarding trafficking rings. Very concerning. Okay. Let's see. Is this the one I already watched? Hold on, y'all. Yeah, we watched this one. I got one more to show you, and then we can go watch The Deceptive Detective too, if you'd like. If you would like. Let's just read. Let me just read here. I'll show you what ChatGTP came up with for similarities and differences. And then I'm going to show you a couple of videos. Key similarities, location between Jack and Lily Sullivan and Dylan Ethler, rather. 20 key similarities, location, all three children disappeared in Nova Scotia. Age range, very young children, Dylan 3, Jack and Lily 3 and 5. Well, that scenario it's 4 and 5. Time frame, both cases occurred within relatively recent years. Rural, small town setting, rural area, and upper Truro, Jack and Lily. Wendake, Upper Truro, Jack and Lily. Quick disappearance. Children vanished in very short time windows. No clear witnesses. No one saw exactly what happened. Extensive searches, massive ground, air, water searches conducted. No bodies recovered. Neither case has found remains. Proximity to water. Both locations are near the water. Brook for Dylan, pond for Jack and Lily. Family trauma, devastating impact on families left behind. RCMP involvement. Same police force investigating. Well, that's not same police force investigating. Yeah. Not great, guys. Not great. Media attention. Both cases received significant coverage. Community involvement, large volunteer search efforts. Mysterious circumstance. No clear explanation for disappearance. Limited physical evidence. Very few clues left behind. Weather factors. Environmental conditions. Complicated searches. It's interesting. Geographic connections. Highway 102 corridor area. Ongoing investigations both remain unsolved open cases. Questions about supervision, timeline gaps, raised questions, potential human trafficking angle. Wow. Circumstances don't fully support accident theories. As you can see, I hadn't read what chat came up to before now. And point 20 is possible trafficking angle. Interesting. 12 key differences between the cases. The number of victims. Dylan was 1 child, Jack and Lily 2. The time of the disappearance, Dylan disappeared daytime, Jack and Lily nighttime. Well, I mean, isn't that interesting that chat's concluding they disappeared in the nighttime because apparently their parents said it was in the morning time. Location, Dylan equals grandmother's property, Jack and Lily, the family campsite. No, chat, family home. Evidence found Dylan's boots in a brook, Jack and Lily's blanket and a footprint. Family custody situation. Dylan had complex custody issues. Jack and Lily did not. Immediate family present. Dylan was with the grandmother. Jack and Lily with both parents. I mean, that should be a comparison, right? Or a similarity with family members, with family. I should have checked this. I just assumed chat was going to be a little more accurate than this. Search area for Dylan was Brook water focused, and Jack and Lily, they also searched waterways as well as the woods. Timeline, 15-minute window for Dylan. Overnight, 6+ hours, Jack and Lily. Wow. Chat has really concluded that Jack and Lily disappeared the night before. It's kind of funny. Public perception, Dylan's case more controversial due to family dynamics. I don't know about that, chat. Dylan's which case do you think is more controversial? Dylan accident versus foul play debate. Jack and Lily abduction theory is stronger. Physical evidence, Dylan's clothing in the water, Jack and Lily blanket on the ground. Well, I think we came up with some other ones already too, didn't we? Yeah, same. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Nice to see you. Yes. So DT analyzes DD's analysis. LOL. Yeah. And the Please Bring Me Home was involved in both of them too. Let's watch another video here. Let's watch another video. And then I'm going to look for we'll watch part of this. This is Crime with Cat. Crime with Cat. Now, where did it go? For the love of God. Okay, let's open it up and we'll see. I don't know. Or Kate. I'm sorry. Crime with Kate. I don't know how much of it we want to watch. So we'll watch this. And then if we have time, depending on how everybody feels, we'll go to the Deception Detective. Deception Detective. Let's listen in.
Scotia would be rocked by a mass shooting, and followed by that would be a helicopter crash. Just weeks after all of that happened, Truro would once again be rocked when a small child would go missing. That small child being Dylan Ethler. And honestly, I am shocked that Dylan's case isn't bigger than it is. It reminds me a lot of Michael Vaughn's case or Summer Wells' case, both cases that happened in the US that blew up. And maybe it's because American cases and American missing children seem to go more viral on the internet than other countries. They seem to get more coverage. And I don't think Dylan's case lacks anything that any of those other cases have. There's definitely a lot of strange circumstances. There's a lot of sketchy things that happened. There's a lot of mystery around this case. So there shouldn't be a reason why it shouldn't have gotten more coverage. I also watched a W5 documentary that was put on this case. So there is stuff out there. Yet I have never seen anyone that I follow that are bigger cover this case. But I think this case is very important, even more so because there could be a little boy out there right now at this very point in time that needs help still. And
You're
I think
welcome,
talking
Jane
about
Doe.
cases
You're
like this
welcome.
could hopefully help spread the word and get the case more out there. So maybe someone out there who knows something could come forward. So let's get into the disappearance of Dylan Ethler. Dylan Ethler grew up in Truro, Nova Scotia, with his father, Jason Ethler, and his mother, Ashley Brown. His home life, by all accounts, seemed normal. Jason describing Dylan's upbringing as loving and caring. He also had an older sister named Lily, who was around 13 years old at the time of Dylan's disappearance. Now, Dylan was described as a real country boy, and he honestly reminds me a lot of my cousins who I grew up with that lived up north.
Wow, we have the name Lily in both stories. You're very welcome, Jane Doe. Wow, both older sisters named Lily. That's interesting and weird.
North in the country.
Weird.
It's very like rough and tumble kind of kids. And Dylan was described as a hyper toddler who wasn't scared of anything. He loved to play in the dirt. He loved to run especially. And he kind of felt like it was a game when he'd run and he thought it was, fun for his parents to chase after him. I'm sure we all have seen children like this or know a child like this. So he always seemed to be keeping his family on their toes. But like any other toddler, Dylan was still interested in cars and trucks. He loved Paw Patrol. He loved exploring the outdoors. But he also loved doing things like sitting down and reading a book like The Cat in the Hat, which was one of his favorite books.
He is the most outgoing little boy like I've ever seen, and he just blows my mind every day with
when
all the things that he does.
He's one of them kids that never gave up. It didn't matter what he was trying to do. If he hurt himself, he'd always get back up and he'd try until he did what he was going to do. He was It's amazing.
But despite that very happy, country living lifestyle that it seemed that this family had, there was also some turmoil happening in the family. At the time of little Dylan's disappearance, his parents, Jason and Ashley, were actually involved in a DV incident between each other. And this led to a no contact order between them. According to Ashley, she had gotten laid off during the pandemic, and this led to the family being home with each other every day. Tensions started to rise, and these tensions finally rose high enough to where it started a blowout fight. And during this fight, Jason threatened to kill her, which Jason fully admits. He admits it, in interviews he's done. On the other hand, Ashley.
Okay, we're gonna skip vibes because it's just a repeat. We're gonna watch Deception Detective. I don't understand what is wrong with me today. But I want to watch his analysis because he is also always so good. And I think what I'll do is if we cover him again, Dylan, then if we cover him again, then I will go back and watch this video and then just show parts of it. But before I do that, it looks like his father for sure. How many of you would be interested in continuing on with Dylan? Deeper dive next time. This is our first time covering him. Let me know in the chat below. And if not, what case do you want to work on next? There's not a lot going on in Jack and Lily. It's very quiet. Yes, says Donna. We'll wait for some more votes to come in. Let me know in the chat. And we're gonna watch Deceptive Detective here's analysis of this case. And then I'll watch Kate rather, and see what parts we haven't listened to yet.
I'd do anything to get that time back. Anything.
But soon, suspicion turns to the grieving family.
There were pieces in her story that I'd be a little concerned about.
Did you have anything to do with the disappearance?
Here is Avery Haynes.
Tonight, a 1-hour special into the disappearance in Nova Scotia, how the mystery has fractured a family, divided a community, and raised some serious questions about the way the case is
Okay, we'll do,
investigated.
everybody. Perfect.
That intro could have been about missing Nova Scotian children Lily and Jack Sullivan, whose case I've been analyzing since they disappeared not too long ago. But it actually isn't. It's about an eerily similar Nova Scotian case. So in today's video, let's watch this documentary together to see what lessons we can learn to improve our analysis of Lily and Jack. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit subscribe. For exclusives, early access, and other cool perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. If you're watching this video, I'm assuming you're at least casually familiar with the disappearance of Lily and Jack Sullivan, but you might not be familiar with the case we're about to compare it to, Dylan Ethler. And if that's the case, don't worry because I'm not familiar with it either. The only reason I know the name is because so many of my subscribers have commented just how eerily similar the two cases are. I haven't even watched past the teaser of the documentary we're going to break down in this video because I wanted to compare and contrast the two cases in real time with all of you. So without further ado, let's listen.
A child vanishes and a desperate search begins.
I'd do anything to get that time back. Anything.
We didn't expect people to reach out like they have been.
But soon, suspicion turns to the grieving family.
It felt as if everybody just, turned on me.
There were pieces in her story that I'd be a little concerned about.
Did you have anything to do with the disappearance of your son?
Here is Avery Haynes.
Welcome to W5. If you've ever lost sight of your child, even for just a fraction of a second, you know.
No. I have not heard the father made a confession. He did it in a rage. Really? There's a text to his girlfriend at the house that he drowned Dylan. Well, that's weird. Where was the mother? Where was this? Wow. Which Darren case from Alberta? Can you specify? I would have fast forward through this because I don't know if Deception Detective is going to get copyright strike, but I know I will for playing part of W5. So we're just going to skip through to his analysis.
Before we get too deep into this, yes, I did cut out some context and some words from that intro for the intro to my video, just to illustrate that the broad strokes of these two cases are virtually the same. We have children who are roughly the same age going missing from roughly the same part of Canada on roughly the exact same day of year. Lily and Jack were reported missing on May 2nd, 2025. Dylan was reported missing on May 6th, 2020. The disappearances were immediately followed up with massive search efforts that yielded very little evidence about where the kid might be. I think in Dylan's case, they actually found some small boots. And not long after the failed search, the general public started to suspect the parents. At least that's what I gather. And I know that's what's going on in the Lily and Jack case. Except in the Lily and Jack case, I think that suspicion is warranted because I've actually analyzed the case myself. I've not analyzed this one. I don't know if the public was right or wrong yet.
It's the wide-awake nightmare of losing a child.
He said Dylan's missing. And I said, what?
The whole world fell apart right there. I hit the ground, started crying.
It's the anguish of not knowing.
We don't know if he was taken. We don't know if he drowned. We don't know if he's alive. We're stuck in limbo.
Ashley and Jason have been in that limbo since May 6th, 2020.
Tonight, still no sign of Dylan. The heartbreaking search for a missing 3-year-old boy.
We covered Darius McDougal a little bit already. I don't know if there's anything new on his case. But Jerry Lynn, I had not heard that. No, I had not. I had not. I see your suggestion as well, Donna. So I've just taken pictures as well as Darren from Alberta. So we'll keep covering Dylan, and we'll cover a couple other cases that are new, as well as maybe any updates if we get any. It's been awfully silent with Jack and Lily. Hoping for some arrests soon, but yeah.
How's everybody making out?
Good, not bad. The day of this search marks 16 excruciating months since 3-year-old Dylan Ethler vanished.
If you're happy to know, clap your hands. If you're happy to know, clap your hands.
Gone almost without a trace in Truro, Nova Scotia.
It feels like day one over and over and.
Okay, y'all, I can't play this one. I have zero confidence in YouTube after what happened to me the other day. So Deception Detective regrettably may have chosen to show W5, but no, I'm not going to take the chance after what happened. So what we're going to do is we're going to call it now. It's we almost 2 hours in on Dylan, and I will cover Dylan again. We usually are live earlier in the day. I'm going to be earlier tomorrow. I'm going to go 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And we'll see what we're going to get case updates from all the cases we're covering. Start one of the new cases you guys suggested and maybe continue on with Dylan looking at some posts from his dad and whatnot. So everybody, thank you for being here. And I hope to see you all at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow for some more Dylan. And I actually want to do a little update on Jack and Lily too. And yeah, so we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you everybody for being here. Thank you, Moose. Thank you for being here. See y'all tomorrow.